Konnichiwa! Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nihongo Master podcast. It's Azra, your host, and for this week's Study Saturday, we're going to look at something pretty easy, or should I say, yasui. It should only take a couple of minutes out of your day. If you've read the title, which I'm assuming most of you did, or if you automatically click on the side of Study Saturday, that's cool too. You know exactly what grammar language we'll be discussing today. Everything from expressing doing something that's hard to something that's easy, we're going to break it down step by step for you. And to make sure it stays in your memories, we're practicing the new grammar language with a couple of role-playing scenarios. Ending it off, we'll list out the Nihongo words and their meanings, in case you missed it. If you're a regular listener of our podcast language series, you know the drill. If you're a newbie, don't worry, you're going to be able to keep up just fine. Our Study Saturday podcast episodes are formatted just like Nihongo Master online learning system. If by the end of this episode you're thinking, that's amazing, check us out on nihongomaster.com and, just maybe get a subscription. The grammar language of today's Study Saturday is, it's easy to, and it's difficult to. So things that are easy to do and hard to do. Let me think. It's hard to wake up early in the morning, am I right guys? Who's an early bird? I'm more of a night owl if you ask me. Now, what about something easy? It's easy to forget homework, am I right? Let's look at how to say it's easy to first. Your brain might be telling you that easy in Japanese is kantan. If you want to say that the homework is easy, you can use kantan like this. Shukudai wa kantan da. Kantan is used like a noun, so you can use it to describe a thing. If you're trying to describe that an action is easy, you can't use kantan. Instead, you've got to use yasui. Now, for this word, you attach it to the stem of a verb. That means you have to change the verb to its must form and get rid of the mas. For example, taberu becomes tabemasu. So its stem form is just tabe. To say something is easy to eat, it's then tabe yasui. Now, our sentence earlier is, it's easy to forget homework. How do we say that in Japanese? To forget is wasureru, and we mentioned earlier that homework is shukudai. Put them all together and you get shukudai wa wasure yasui. Take note of the particle changes. That's a big thing here. Normally, if you want to say to forget homework, you use the o particle. Shukudai o wasureru. With the yasui grammar point, o becomes wa. It applies to other particles too. It's the same with it's difficult to when it comes to the particle changes. The grammar point for this is nikui. If you want to say it's difficult to eat, you say it as tabe nikui. Our example sentence at the start was, it's difficult to wake up early. To wake up early is hayaoki suru. While you can say it as hayaoki shi nikui, it's better to make the verb as the subject and then use the word muzukashi. Hayaoki suru no wa muzukashii desu. You can also use zurai, just like how you'd use nikui. Tabe nikui can also be said as tabe zurai. However, you usually use zurai for volitional verbs and not non-volitional, with a couple of exceptions. A lot of the time, it has to do with psychological obstacles. An example would be, anna kankyo de ikizurai da. It's difficult to live in that sort of environment. Last one to say it's difficult to, and that is gatai. This is more extreme than the others, and it translates to more of saying something that is impossible to do. If someone doesn't believe what you're trying to say, you can go, shinji gatai koto o shitteiru. I understand it's quite difficult, to the extent of impossible to believe. If all that's confusing you, stick to yasui and nikui. You can't really go wrong in conversation, as long as everyone understands the message. Now, let's wrap it up. To say it's easy to, use kantan for nouns, and for verbs, change it to the stem form first before adding yasui. To say it's difficult to, there are a few ways. You can use muzukashi after the subject. You can change the verb into the stem form and then add nikui for most, or zurai for volitional verbs only, or gatai for the extreme of impossible. Ready to put those new grammar language to practice? Here are two role-playing scenarios, one with an English translation and another with a quiz section. The first one, we have siblings Ryo and Nana discussing a few things over dinner.
ナナちゃん、今晩の食事は何を作るの？ステーキを食べたい。
は？ステーキ？作りにくいよ。肉もなくて作れない。野菜スープだけできるだ。作りやすくて美味しいと思う。
え、野菜スープ？肉入ってないよね。なんで肉がない？今コンビニに行って肉を買おう。
ほんと？いいよ。今からスープを作り始める。後で肉を食べる。それは簡単だ。
よし、すぐに行ってくる。どんな肉がいいの？鶏か牛肉か豚肉か。
どっちでもいいけど急いでください。
はい、行ってきます。
いってらっしゃい。
Now let's have a listen at the English translation.
ナナちゃん、what are you making for tonight's dinner? I want to eat steak.
Huh? Steak? It's difficult to make. We also don't have meat, so we can't make it. We can only do vegetable soup. It's easy to make and it's delicious in my opinion.
Vegetable soup? There's no meat in it, right? Why don't we have meat? I'll go to the convenience store and buy meat.
Really? That's fine. I'll start cooking the vegetable soup now. Afterwards, I'll fry the meat. That one's easy.
Alright, I'll go right away. What kind of meat? Chicken or beef or pork?
Whichever is fine, but please hurry up.
Yes, I'm off now.
Take care.
Moving on, Nana meets up with her friend from overseas, Lily, for brunch.
久しぶり、リリちゃん。元気？日本で生活はどう？楽しいの？
Nana, 久しぶり。元気、ありがとう。日本は最高だ。めっちゃ楽しい。
よかった。最近何をしてるの？
いろいろなしてるよ。まだ半年なので、もうたくさんの日本食レストランで食べてきた。でも、フィッシュ&チップスを見つけるのは難しいと思う。
そうなの？いっぱい洋食レストランだと思う。
そうだけど、イギリスと同じ味じゃないかも。とにかく、私は毎日日本語を話しているけど、日本語の本は読みにくいと思う。
そっか。多分漢字よね。私も漢字ダメだ。喋るのは喋りやすいか？
いや、それも難しい。We have 3 quiz questions for you to challenge yourself with. First question, how long has Lily been in Japan? Second question, what has Lily been doing during her time in Japan and what's one issue she brought up? Third question, what does Lily find difficult about Japanese? Answer check. The first question's answer is, she's been in Japan for half a year. The second question's answer is, she's been eating at a lot of Japanese restaurants, and she has been finding it difficult to find fish and chips that taste similar to back in England. The third question's answer is, she finds both reading and speaking difficult. Now let's wrap it up with a quick vocab recap. Kantan, easy. Yasui, easy, but can also mean cheap. Yasui to mean easy is written in hiragana alone, while the one to mean cheap is written in kanji. Shukudai, homework. Wasureru, to forget. Hayaoki suru, to wake up early. Muzukashi, difficult. Nikui also means difficult. Zurai, difficult but for volitional verbs and psychological obstacles. Gatai, impossible to do. Shinjiru, to believe. Kankyo, environment. Anna, that sort of. Ikiru, to live. Hisashiburi, it's been a while. Genki, happy. It can also be used to ask, how are you? Seikatsu, life. Tanushi, fun. Mitsukeru, to find. Yoshoku, Western food. Aji, taste. Hanasu, to speak. Shaberu is also another way to say to speak. Yomu, to read. So, wasn't this episode wakari yasui? Or was it wakari nikui? I hope it's the former. What other grammar language you'd like to have as part of this podcast language series? Tell us your thoughts by commenting on our social media platforms. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We don't bite, promise. If you're interested in similar bite-sized grammar pointers, head over to Nihongo Master blog for more. And if you're keen on picking up some more Japanese for yourself, pop onto our official website, nihongomaster.com, to learn more about our interactive online learning system. At Nihongo Master, we offer efficient Japanese lessons that are quick, easy, and fun for Japanese language learners of all levels, from beginners to advanced. Our smart tools will assist you in areas where you need a bit of a push and congratulate you on the ones you've aced. Get a subscription today and get a head start on your Nihongo journey with Nihongo Master. Thank you so much for listening in, and join me in the next one where we'll be looking at another interesting part of the Japanese language. Mata ne!